Hi, this is J.W. Warr with American Note Warehouse. I want to go over the tax advantages of owning a home-based business. I'm going to do it in black and white, so it's going to be really simple. Meet George and Jane. These two people have a lot of things in common. Each of them earns $3,000 a month, and each has a $150,000 mortgage at 6% on their house. The key difference between the two is Jane set up a home-based business. She went to a meeting one night and saw the possibilities of owning her own business and making extra income. So Jane joined a home-based business. Now George was at the same meeting, but George just didn't get it. And so what George did, he didn't even see the advantages to owning a home-based business in his taxes. So he just kept doing what he's been doing, and he just keeps overpaying his income taxes every single month. Now, let's compare how much money they both bring home. Both make $3,000 a month. George pays $500 a month in income tax, but because Jane owns her own business and gets to write off all her business expenses, Jane actually doesn't have to pay income tax every month. George lives on $2,500 a month. Jane lives on $3,000 a month. George has been overpaying his taxes $200 every single month. He gets a $2,400 tax refund every year. He really loves getting that money. Him and his family go on vacation. Jane realized that you're lending money to the government and they're not paying you any interest. She also realized that she could use that money to pay off interest-bearing accounts. So she corrected her income tax by putting the right number of withholding allowances down, and so she does not overpay her taxes. Now, that means that George has $2,300 a month to live on, but Jane still has $3,000 a month to live on. Now, their mortgage payments are $900 a month. Available for paying down their mortgage, George has nothing extra, but Jane now has $700 a month extra because she's not overpaying her taxes and she's not paying any income tax because she has tax deductions. Jane took that $700 and paid off her mortgage. Both of them would be living on exactly the same amount of money every single month. So after 5 years, George still owes $140,000 on his home. Jane only owes $91,000 on hers, simply because she started a home-based business. Now, I'm not even counting the income she makes off her home-based business, just the tax advantage. 10 years and 7 months into this comparison, George still owes $124,000 on his house. Jane's home is now paid off. She's paid hers off completely, using the tax advantages to a home-based business. Jane invests that $1,600 a month that she was paying on her house payment at 9% in her retirement account. Coming from what she was paying on her mortgage and the money she was overpaying on her taxes, she takes the whole $1,600 a month and invested at 9% in her retirement account. So 20 years after we started checking on him, George still owes $81,000 on his mortgage. Jane now has $318,000 in her retirement program and a paid-for house. 30 years, George's house is finally paid off, but he has zero in his retirement account. George paid $174,000 in interest alone on that house. Jane not only has her house paid off early, she now has $1.3 million in her retirement program simply because she started a home-based business. Jane only paid $53,000 in interest. Home-based businesses. A home-based business has got to be the answer. Which would you prefer? Sign up for a home-based business today.
Hello, everyone. everybody, it's Sandy Sylvie, your processing supervisor, and I am happy to be bringing you episode number 9. I got a lot of extra juice in my blood because things have been going so great. I love helping all of you out there. I've met so many friends that are processors and continue to develop relationships with a lot of you guys, and I actually had a conversation with one of our processors that's been with us for, I guess, 5-6 weeks, and she finally got her check, and she was so excited. As you guys know, your first checks or your first payments are made by check, company check, to validate and verify, if you didn't know that, to validate and verify that you are not a bad person, you're not a terrorist, you're really gonna, the money is going to the person that has registered and set up their payment, payment method on step number 4. If you haven't done that yet, you need to go do that. Make sure that you do that in your processing steps. I know it's in step number 4, but it's probably one of the first things that we should do is just make sure that we're set up so that we can get paid and know how we're going to get it paid. And for those of you that are watching this on the wonderful world of YouTube, which I just love making videos for everybody out there, this is a UBATracers program where we get paid to search government databases and process and database the data entered for a financial recovery company for unclaimed assets, which is a $60 billion industry. And I bring you every week, normally on Wednesdays, but I'm a little bit late because of my busy schedule. Here on Thursday, I'm producing this video for the weekly Work at Home News, where we do a lot of good things and teach and help our processors that are really committed to making money online, working from home, all of those kind of things. And this segment, I have several different segments to share with you today, and a really, really, really cool, a financial gain for you near the end of a segment here today, which I haven't done for about a month now, but I'm going to do it again today so that you guys are making sure that you're making the most money you possibly can. Today, as Rising Stars, this is the segment where we congratulate our new processors who have submitted 10 or more processing submissions, meaning the databasing part in step 3, not step 2 where you file a claim. That's not how we make money here. We need to file the claim to guarantee our payment, and then once we're approved, we get our submission forms, and then we process them and send them in. I've been doing this since 2017, and I love this segment because most people that work from home, or specifically in the brick and mortar world of, having part-time jobs or full-time jobs or careers, they don't get recognized for the work that they do. And on this segment, we recognize our processors. And so these are people that are brand new with us, probably in the last week or 10 days or so like that actually took action. Most people don't take action. They look for something, they don't do it, and then they sit in the same doldrum where they sit financially, probably for a long time like I did, probably the first 2-3 months before I got started making money online as well. So this is our past week's Rising Star Recognition Board. And so congratulations to Byron Clark for taking action and getting started, Sabrina Poole, Mark Simpson, Graham Saunders, sorry if I said that wrong, Rebecca Garin, Patricia Ferlin, Mike Thompson, Brenda Gilster. I do butcher names because I don't have the proper pronunciation. If I do butcher your name, please just email me at sandysoviatonline@gmail, and I will get it right. Okay, Norm Plantier, Paul Whitefish, Helen Broadhead. That is Helen. Helen was, I just spoke to her as well last week. I've been reaching out to talk to some of the processors more and more actively through Skype. So if you have Skype and you want to chit-chat or anything like that as you're getting started, or just need clarification on something, reach out to me through my email, and I will link up with you on Skype. Lydia Cron, Morgan Vargas, Jake Almont, I think it's Almonte or Almont, I'm not sure, sorry Jake. Brian Perez, City, Hamilton, Wayne Plowman, Oria Kaluzia. I email with Oria lots, and she's from the Ukraine. So I'm sorry if I got your pronunciation of your last name, Oria, sorry. Victor Sanchez, Derek Jackwell, Jana Poria, Adam Donaldson, Lauren McWilliams, Link Gleek, Amber Goldsmith, Amy Whalen, Jake Carpenter, Sadie Nordstrom, I know she's from Sweden, and Vanessa Ewan. Now, if I say these names wrong, and you know it's not don't take it as an insult. I try to do this and pronounce names without the proper pronunciation or a guide to be able to do that, and you'd see what I'm talking about. Every week we recognize 20, 30, 40 people as our new rising stars, and there is lots of unique names out there, so I apologize for that again. I really do feel bad about that. Sorry. This is our bonus pool that I want to talk about every week. A lot of new people, a lot of our experienced processors watch this video, and I know that this is redundant sometimes, but between September 1st and October 4th, processors, they've extended this bonus now, submitting 10 or more. So all of the rising stars that we just covered on more forms in the 7-day period from Friday at midnight Mountain Time to, or Saturday at 12:01, till Friday at midnight. Within that 7-day period, receive a cash bonus above and beyond the regular processing form commissions, which we all know we get 10% for. Woohoo! You get $500 extra a week. So it's just easy money sitting there. I know that there's processors out there that do one form, 4 forms as they get started and things like that. You got to do 10. Do 10 right off the bat, and you get easy $500. Okay, so if you take your 10 and you know that you can only process $250 minimum accounts, even if you did 10 of those, you're going to get $250 for that at the bare minimum. I know you guys going scouring through the accounts can find much bigger ones than that, like I do. But just even at the bare minimum, you're going to make the $500 bonus plus your normal $250, so you get $750 for the week part-time. Like, we're not doing this full-time, are we, folks? We're spending 5-10 hours a week doing this job. I know I spend most of my time doing affiliate marketing and making money other ways as well. This pays me the most, but it's the best time spent here, and this bonus allows us to be able to do that, and I'm so proud and glad that they've extended it because new processors need that extra money right off the bat. The next part I'm going to get to, if I'm going really fast, it's because I got a segment to share with you. It's about 5, 7, 10 minutes long from a guest, and we actually have a couple of segments with guests today. So just bear with me because I'm going through it quickly because I don't want the videos to go more than 40 minutes or so like that. So I'm trying to squeeze everything I possibly can. If you have not heard of the Processor Pass, you need to get on board with the Processor Pass. Now, I've just gotten a heads up that they, as we had mentioned before in previous episodes, there are a limited amount of pass members available. There are only 6 spots available now. I just talked to Jennifer yesterday, and this pass card will give you, it'll waive the step 2 process. So if you're familiar with UBATracers, you have to claim your files so that because they can only pay one person to do the processing of one account. So you have to claim it first and then get approved, which does take time. Sometimes it can take a day or two to be able to do that. So it'll waive the processing form steps, so you don't have to be able to do that, wasting time or anything like that. You must have at least 10 processing forms in previously to qualify for it if you want one of those last 6 spots. And here's how you get the processing form. You email Jennifer. So in your UBAtracers.com information in your area, up at the top header, there's a Contact Us form. You just send off that you'd like the information on the Processor Pass membership, and it will give you, and just include your phone number, and they will email out, and Kevin Lane will try attempt to make a contact with you through phone to explain it with you or answer any questions you have so that you can move forward. Because I'm a Processor Pass, most of our processors that have been with us for a couple weeks or more at least, always dreaded doing the claim form part and waiting for the submission back. We database everything, we keep our good records, right? But then we have to wait for that process, so it eliminates that. You don't have any more cost for time or anything like that moving forward. So make sure that you take a look at the Pass membership so that you can get a lot more efficient. You can reduce your wait time, and not only that, it puts you ahead of all the other processors. Okay? Now, this segment, before I get into the member spotlight like we always have, are the tax advantages of home-based business. Now, I know a lot of you guys are here to make money processing unclaimed bank accounts and unclaimed property, but what you don't know is that because we are independent contractors, we are set up as a home business automatically. Once we get involved with UBATracers, and this is something that you don't know, most people don't know. The average American person or family can save up to $5,000 back on their taxes just because you got started. Now, that's why we have the rising stars. That's why we recognize everybody, because people that take action and keep self-discipline and do at least 10, 20, 30 processing forms a week, they're going to save so much money. Never mind the money we make from processing, but the money you save. For examples on the deductions of expenses you can have just because you're a UBATracer, all your mileage on your vehicle, your computer expenses, your internet connection, your office supplies. And you might say, what kind of supplies? A pen, a paper, anything that you normally are already buying anyway. All of your utilities in your home or the property that you rent, your training expenses, your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, your household maintenance, maintenance and dining out. I go on trips every year and I deduct them all because I relate them to the business that I'm doing. Now, I want to share with you here, I am not a tax expert, and I don't pretend to be, and legally I can't be. So I've recruited somebody that does a really better job of explaining the story, the benefits of taxes just with your business. Never mind the money you're making. We want to make more money, and we want to save more money. As you all know, I'm Sandy Sauvé, and I've made over $600,000 in this business since 2017. I average around $250,000, $300,000 a year. Because I write everything off as a tax advantage, like you're going to see here from our guest, I save $30,000 to $40,000 a year. There are people out in America right now and around the world that do not even make $30,000 to $40,000. How did I do it? All I do is I consult a tax professional, and that gives me $30,000 to $40,000 extra every single year. So everybody watching this right now, this is the biggest part of getting started, is saving money on your taxes. By making your first submissions, you instantly are qualified as an independent contractor with UBATracers and are qualified to save that money off of any other income sources that you have coming into your home. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you don't even work, that income or those expenses can be written off towards the taxes that are being selfishly taken from the government every time that your husband gets paid. So without further ado, watch this little clip, and I think it explains it a lot better on the benefits of the tax side of being a UBATracer. And then I'll come back with the member spotlight.
I want to go over the tax advantages of owning a home-based business. I'm going to do it in black and white, so it's going to be really simple. Meet George and Jane. These two people have a lot of things in common. Each of them earns $3,000 a month, and each has a $150,000 mortgage at 6% on their house. The key difference between the two is Jane set up a home-based business. She went to a meeting one night and saw the possibilities of owning her own business and making extra income. So Jane joined a home-based business. Now George was at the same meeting, but George just didn't get it. And so what George did, he didn't even see the advantages to owning a home-based business in his taxes. So he just kept doing what he's been doing, and he just keeps overpaying his income taxes every single month. Now, let's compare how much money they both bring home. Both make $3,000 a month. George pays $500 a month in income tax, but because Jane owns her own business and gets to write off all her business expenses, Jane actually doesn't have to pay income tax every month. George lives on $2,500 a month. Jane lives on $3,000 a month. George has been overpaying his taxes $200 every single month. He gets a $2,400 tax refund every year. He really loves getting that money. Him and his family go on vacation. Jane realized that you're lending money to the government and they're not paying you any interest. She also realized that she could use that money to pay off interest-bearing accounts. So she corrected her income tax by putting the right number of withholding allowances down, and so she does not overpay her taxes. Now, that means that George has $2,300 a month to live on, but Jane still has $3,000 a month to live on. Now, their mortgage payments are $900 a month. Available for paying down their mortgage, George has nothing extra, but Jane now has $700 a month extra because she's not overpaying her taxes and she's not paying any income tax because she has tax deductions. Jane took that $700 and paid off her mortgage. Both of them would be living on exactly the same amount of money every single month. So after 5 years, George still owes $140,000 on his home. Jane only owes $91,000 on hers, simply because she started a home-based business. Now, I'm not even counting the income she makes off her home-based business, just the tax advantage. 10 years and 7 months into this comparison, George still owes $124,000 on his house. Jane's home is now paid off. She's paid hers off completely, using the tax advantages to a home-based business. Jane invests that $1,600 a month that she was paying on her house payment at 9% in her retirement account. Coming from what she was paying on her mortgage and the money she was overpaying on her taxes, she takes the whole $1,600 a month and invested at 9% in her retirement account. So 20 years after we started checking on him, George still owes $81,000 on his mortgage. Jane now has $318,000 in her retirement program and a paid-for house. 30 years, George's house is finally paid off, but he has zero in his retirement account. George paid $174,000 in interest alone on that house. Jane not only has her house paid off early, she now has $1.3 million in her retirement program simply because she started a home-based business. Jane only paid $53,000 in interest. Home-based businesses. A home-based business has got to be the answer. Which would you prefer?
Now, as you've seen the tax advantages, guys, that in itself makes sense, right? It just, even that part, and that's why I don't understand why most people, I've been doing this for a long time, since 2012, not with UBATracers, but as a home-based business entrepreneur, and one of the very first ways I made money, just like everybody listening right now, is from my taxes. Even before I got my first commission check or my first payment on through PayPal or anything like that, I saved money on my taxes. I instantly got paid because we are all suckered in, we're all brainwashed, we're all educated by the government, which, I don't know about you, they're there to protect us, but they want to get paid for it, right? So that makes sense. But they take the money from our checks instantly. As a home-based business smart owner, you can save on your money, on your taxes, by just getting started. That's all you got to do. And then just keep good records, which all I do, to be honest with you, is just save my receipts and give it to my tax professional every year at the end of the year. And not only that, when I pay my tax professional, that's a write-off too. So I get the portion of that money back as well. Now, I have to apologize because this is the end of the video today, because our next guest that was supposed to be on today, Brian Cook, he had canceled this morning before I started to record. And that's why I was delaying getting out the video today, because I had to record it today, because yesterday he canceled, said he might have been able to do it today, so I held on for that, but he just could not get free from his schedule, what he does right now. Okay, and I apologize for that. So what he has promised me, though, he will be back next week. And if you don't know who Brian Cook is, you can go look at his accomplishments in the leaderboards at UBATracers.com in your processing training hub. He is one of the top leaders, and actually he's promised that he's going to pass me one day. But we have a friendly competition with Brian. But he's going to be back next Wednesday when the weekly Work at Home news comes back to you with some more good information, content recognition, information, and of course our member spotlight. The previous 2 weeks, if you've missed one of our member segments, you can go back the last 2 weeks inside your member hub in the weekly training or the weekly updates, and you can watch Paul Birdsall's, and you can watch Cammie's interview last week. I had them both on. This week, I thought it'd be 3 for 3, but I missed today because of Brian's incredible schedule, and he just couldn't break away. He tried, that's why I delayed it today, and so he promised he would try to make it today too, but he just cannot do it with his travel. So next week I will have Brian Cook on, I promise, on Member Spotlight. If not, guess what, Brian? I've got a backup plan for you next week, even if you can't do it. So I will have a backup person for the Member Spotlight next week. I am Sandy Sauvé. I am so excited to have you on board as a UBAtracer and a processor with our company. I am the independent contractor for the UBAtracers as the processing supervisor. If you need anything and you have any questions or you want to get started, you can always email me at sandysauveonline@gmail.com. Of course, you also get my autoresponder. You're a subscriber from my autoresponder messages, so you will be getting those too. You could just simply reply to one of those to get a hold of me. If you haven't got started yet, well, there's been so many reasons for you to get started. 1, you get recognized on the Rising Star board every week on this video. 2, you get to make money from home, obviously. And 3, you get to save on your tax advantages. And 4, you get to work with me. Okay, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode 9. We're almost at episode 10 of me starting to do this, and that's been since I've been the processing supervisor. Well, I'm excited. I'm going to go do some more processing, and I hope you do too. Bring back next week as we bring you, we'll bring back the Member Spotlight with Brian Cook and all of the other goodies that I'll have for you next week. Thanks again for watching, guys, and have a wonderful processing week. And tomorrow, because it's Thursday, don't forget it's payday.